Okay, next up we have Red Sky Energy, ASX code ROG, and they have a market cap of around 32 million. Red Sky Energy is an oil and gas exploration and development company that acquires, drills, and develops oil and gas resources that can be produced conventionally using proven advanced technologies and developed best practice methods. Presenting for the company today is Red Sky MD, Andrew Knox. Andrew, welcome. Please take it away.
Thank you, Paul. Good to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. First slide, please. Next. This is a corporate snapshot of the company. We have a market cap of about 32 million, no debt, 6,500 odd shareholders. The top 20 holds about nearly 23% of the shares out. Our team is very important. We have a lean three-man board, very experienced. Rob Annell's our chairman, veteran of the industry, 30 years with executive chairman of Lakes. Myself, nearly 40 years experience in the industry. Started working on rigs when I was in short pants, so to speak. And Adrian Wing, who's also our company secretary, very experienced with listed resource companies. Our small management team is myself and Serge Tilakima. He's our new ventures and development manager. Serge is a reservoir engineer with 30 odd years experience with the majors. Next slide. These are our main assets located in the state of South Australia. We have 6 contiguous licenses up in the north of the state, known as the Inaminka Dome. Santos operate this with 80%, and we have the remaining 20%. And down at Killanoola in the southeast of the state, in the Penola Trough, we have 100% of the Killanoola oil field located in PRL 13. Next slide. This has been our strategic approach. We look to buy near-term production or existing production and value add, work up the resources and to turn that into cash flow. We've been quite successful with Inaminka and Killanoola in that vein. We're currently preparing the Killanoola oil field for extended flow test shortly, and we already have the production started at Inaminka in the Yarrow field. We're looking to enhance this. We've shot 3D early last year at Killanoola. We've processed and interpreted that, and that'll be used as the basis for further development. And we're in the throes of acquiring seismic, 3D seismic over the Yarrow gas field in Inaminka at the moment. And both of these will be used for our full field development plans going forward. Next slide, please. So just focusing in on Killanoola here, the yellow there shows where the field is in the north of the Penola Trough, not too far from the township of Penola itself. We have this 100%. We've recently signed a sales agreement with Viva Energy down in Geelong to take all the crude, which will be benchmarked against dated Brent. And we've also recently received government approval to start production. And I'm pleased to say we're working to mobilise contracts to the site now, and we expect to be producing there in a couple of weeks. Next slide. So we've had an updated independent report commissioned early last year. This resulted in an increase of the in-place volumes up to about 135 million barrels. And we're looking to recover about 30 million plus barrels of this. If you look at this in relation to our market cap of 32 million, it sort of looks like just on these barrels at Killanoola alone, like a $1 a barrel, which is compelling value in anyone's books. This schematic shows existing 2 wells at DW1 and Southeast 1. DW1 is the well we intend to re-enter and open up an existing 5 meters of pay. There is already a pump and production tubing in that well, and then we will then eventually look to come back and also reperforate another 13 meters of pay below this we've identified. Killanoola Southeast 1 has no pump or production tubing in it, but it is cased and suspended, and we will looking to enter that and perforate there as well. And there is an untested fault block in the middle. Killanoola South has the same geological setting as the other two, and we will be looking to drill that structure as well. Next slide, please. So we're close to realising cash flow at Killanoola. We've signed the agreement with Viva. We've got the government approvals. We're using SGS mainly for our contracting of our equipment and services. The crude itself actually has quite a high pour point. So we've identified an additive that will reduce that. That means that when I say high pour point, basically it's waxy, it's paraffinic. So we need to bring that down to make sure it flows, and for flow assurance, we're using this additive. It's the same additive that Santos used in the Northern Cooper. We've also got heated tanks, twin skins that can be heated with steam or hot water to make sure that the crude stays liquid. And thereupon it'll be trucked down to about 4 hours to the southeast, down to the Beavers refinery in Geelong. Next slide, thank you. So just turning our attention to Inaminka here. On this cartoon here, you can see the licenses there highlighted in the yellow. There's 3 existing fields there: Yarrow gas field, Flax oil and gas field, and the Juniper oil field. We hold 20% of these licenses. We drilled late last year the Yarrow 3 well, and a very successful well, I'm pleased to say. Came in about 5,000 MCF a day on test. And just on the back of that one well, the joint venture decided to push the button on FID and get that into production. And we built a pipeline down from Yarrow down to Napowi, which brings it into the South Australian Cooper Basin joint venture grid to get the gas then down to Moomba for processing, and then onward sail from there. Next slide, please. So the pipeline's been built. We're now in production. We have actually signed a gas sale agreement with Origin, take a pay agreement to take all our gas. It should be pointed out that we're not subject to the gas cap that a lot of other major oil companies, gas companies are subject to. There's also some liquids, condensate LPG and ethane, and we have separate agreements for those with the South Australian Cooper Basin joint venture for their sale. Sorry, can we just go back? We will be looking from Moomba. Once it's processed, the gas is then sold on to either Adelaide or Sydney. Next slide, thank you. So this is our inventory at Inaminka. We have about 3.6 million barrels of oil equivalent. This is made up of at Flax about 20 BCF of gas and about 10 million barrels of oil. Flax has an existing 6 vertical wells on it. It's historically produced 180,000 barrels of oil, and it's good seismic coverage. Yarrow itself has about 20 BCF of gas. We now have Yarrow 3 producing, and the Juniper has about 600,000 barrels gross and has good seismic coverage. Next slide, thank you. So we've just about completed a seismic acquisition at Yarrow. We did this in conjunction with the license next door held by Santos and Beach. This was cost effective. It resulted in a shared area of interest outlined there in the yellow. This was done basically to gain economies of scale. We've been free carried through this. I should point out that when we farmed out to Santos, it resulted in us being free carried through the Yarrow 3 drilling, the construction of the pipeline, and also this seismic program. So pleased with that. And this will be used as the basis for our eventual full field development at Yarrow. Next slide, thank you. So our development schedule at Killanoola, we've had an upgrade in the in-place volumes. We've got the oil contract signed with Viva, got the government approvals in place, and I'm pleased to say we expect to be in production within 2 weeks there. We now have productions commenced at Yarrow 3. Sales agreement's been signed with Origin. Got also associated liquids coming from that. Next quarter, there is another well called Yarrow 1, existing well, which we intend to re-enter and also bring that into production as well, first quarter 2024. And then the 3D seismic, once that's processed and interpreted, that will be used for the full field development of further wells on Yarrow. And then there's Flax. There's 6 existing wells with lots of upside there, with about 20 BCF of gas and 10 million barrels gross of recoverable, and we will be looking to do something at Flax. Next slide, thank you. And we have a watching brief on acquisitions. We are looking domestically as well as overseas. Oil prices remain strong, very robust. We're finding that as majors transition out of hydrocarbons into renewables, this has created a lot of opportunity for us. And with oil prices so strong, we're certainly looking at those. We're also, I should say, looking at other potential forms of energy in terms of natural hydrogen and geothermal as well. Next, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Andrew, many thanks for that presentation. Really interesting presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
So a couple of questions here. With the Yarrow flow line connection at Inamica now complete, when can we realistically expect to see first gas production?
It is in production now, Paul. We have started production, and we expect our first revenues this quarter. In fact, very soon. So we're very happy about that.
You got my next question there as well. And how quickly can you achieve a ramp up?
Once we drill this Yarrow 1 well next quarter, we expect that to be successful and completed, and that again will be tied into the grid. We've already got the pipeline now, as it were, so the infrastructure, so to speak, is in place. So it won't be too difficult to tie that into the Yarrow line, and then down into the grid, and then down to Moomba and so forth. There's plenty of ullage in that line. It's a 4-inch line. It can take 20,000 MCF a day. Currently, it's about 3,000. So there's lots of room there to take more gas and liquids.
And there's a question here: what additional potential exists from an exploration perspective at Inamica?
At Inamica, there's 6 licenses there. So to the east, well, there's obviously the full field development at Yarrow, but also to the east there's the Flax field. Now that got shut in many years ago because of oil price, but all the infrastructure is there. There's 6 existing wells drilled. All the lines are in place. Needs a couple of load out pumps and maybe a new flare starter on it, but that's it. It's all there. So it wouldn't be too difficult to bring that back into production very, very quickly. And also the gas side of it, it's only 4 kilometers to tie it into the Yarrow pipeline. So that shouldn't be too difficult to do, and relatively cheaply too, I might add.
I suppose that's a pretty significant. You say 4Ks only, yeah? Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you've now received government approval for production. What is the status of canola, and when can we expect to see production coming online there?
Within the next 2 weeks. Yes, we're working it very hard. All the contractors and equipment's being mobilised to site now. So yes, we're all very, very excited about that. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, no Christmas turkey until that's up and running, yeah?
That's basically it. Yes, indeed. Yes.
You either work over Christmas or you get the job done.
Yes, well, yeah, we might be there for Christmas. But we have the decorations to put on the wellhead, though.
And how has pricing been structured with the offtake partner with I think Beaver Energy, you said?
That's based against dated Brent, as it were. They'll take all our crude that we can produce. It will be subject to stringent specifications on the crude, I might add. But we've had all that assayed, and we meet specifications on that. So once the amount of additive we need and so forth to keep the flow assurance on the crude, we need to work out. That'll be part of this testing that we'll start when we start production.
And it's very clear that cash flows are expected to ramp up soon. How do you intend to use that money?
Well, obviously we will be looking to expand the sites, as it were. There will be additional drilling at Inaminka. Obviously, there's Flax to look at, and there will be more drilling at Killanoola as well. There is the other wells to re-enter Southeast 1 and more perforations to be done at DW1, which we're going to be producing from very shortly. There's also another structure there we want to drill called Killanoola South in the middle. We're actually at the moment working also on our where to site these wells. That we're actively working that at present.
And look, you know, we talked about your oil and gas is obviously your focus, but you also mentioned towards the end of the presentation, you're looking at some hydrogen assets, is that right?
Yes, we're looking at natural hydrogen. There is such a thing as natural hydrogen, and we are looking at opportunities there as well. Yes, there is also, as I mentioned before, a lot of other opportunities in terms of the oil and gas space where we're finding that some are transitioning out of those, that there's created a lot of opportunity for us to look at, and we're actively reviewing those at present.
Andrew, many thanks for your time today. You have a great weekend.
You too, Paul. Thanks very much.